and I'm gonna give him a ultimate quib. Here we go. And this actually did a crit on Ledden and giving him an extra debuff. So he's got 2 armor downs if you notice. Hey guys, Icewind here. Welcome back to another video where this time I'll be showcasing and reviewing Almeda, also known as Coco, or your pink haired girl next door. So before I start the video, I know most of you had given me the feedback that the review videos have been a bit long, and I noticed the average watch duration is actually just 8 minutes. So I'll just be trying to keep it short if I can, if that's actually possible. Okay, so I have her at 5 stars and level 50. You can say I've invested quite a bit in her, I guess. Let's start off at the very top, which is her factions. So she belongs in the protagonist, which is a really small faction, but it's got some really solid heroes. And then we have the Legion of Glory, which is a really big faction with a lot of good heroes, and that's definitely viable in both PvE and PvP. So definitely a good solid faction. Now you notice that she's kind of lacking in the defense and the HP area, so especially the HP area, but she's got really good int and she's got really good magic defense, and the skills are just D. So actually, like, I'll explain later, but you really want skill to be really high on her. You really want it to crit. You know, these stats are pretty good for a mage, so it's workable, definitely workable, but I would really like to see skill higher. That's all I gotta say. Now looking at her talent, we have deals 1 random debuffs to 3 enemies within 4 blocks, and then restores HP of ally with least HP, and this is global healing, so it's single target healing, and it's going to do 2.2 of her int at 5 stars, and 3 debuffs. So when this goes to maximum level, it's going to increase to 4 enemies. Yeah, so it's going to be within 4 enemies within 4 blocks and 2.5 times Almeda's int. Firstly, I have to say that this is an amazing talent. Like, if you compare this to all the other protagonists, Grenier, Matthew, it's nowhere close. This just trumps them so hard. And if you compare this to some of the SSR heroes like Die Hard or those kind of heroes, like, this is just insane compared to that. So it's definitely like a really solid, like insanely good passive to have. And this makes her very usable in auto as well, and also makes her good to have when, so if there's a map where your healer can't really reach the high mobility of a hero that you have, for example if you have a Cherie, your Almeda can't reach, she can at least support her with this healing skill, which is global. There was 1 random debuff to all enemies within, so up to 4 enemies within 4 blocks. Like, the radius on this is just huge, and then you get a free debuff on every one of them. Like, that's just amazing. I can't tell you how good this skill is. Excellent debuffer straight off the bat, debuffer healer. Now looking at her skills, I mean, this is not that good, but it's good when you're just starting off. It's a single target, and this is alright, but especially you have a Bozor, this is pretty decent. So okay, you could use this if you don't have an accessory on your tank. That's gonna make them immune to the movement down, which is, devastates your tank and makes them kind of useless, gets rid of the guard ability. So if you don't have an accessory or something like that, this could be an alternative to that, but I wouldn't really want to spend 1 blue ticket on it. And this one is just kind of useless because you really don't want to, be one-on-one people all the time with this, with what she's doing mostly. So I would definitely want to just skip this. And this is a great skill because it's going to do a global heal, and it's 4 times the casters in it, which is huge. And this skill, I think, symbolizes her in a way. So she's like an offensive healer. So she's just like Chris, you have an offensive healer. So that's one of the reasons I really like this hero, because you can do damage and heal at the same time, and also giving people debuffs. She's debuffer and then damage dealer and also a healer, so all in one little package. And then we have the final class, which is quite amazing because she gets 2 nice Aoe skills, very nice Aoe skills. So this actually gives you a bonus when attacking flies as well. So, and then it's going to decrease their attack, and it lasts for 2 turns. So it's a very reliable skill to decrease the enemy's attacks, and with cooldowns only 3 turns, which makes it a bit spammable. This one's got a much higher cooldown at 5 turns, but it's going to dispel an enemy buff and then cast one random debuff. So this is nice to dispel enemies like they just have 1 guard buff, for example, and then you can just get rid of that guard buff. And it's very good in PvP as well, because you can dispel one of their buffs. So they're most likely going to have a buff for you to be able to dispel, and you're going to be casting 1 random debuff. Now these debuffs aren't random as it seems, because the random debuff is only either the attack and then down, or defense down, or magic damage down. So it's not going to be another random debuff like Bozo would have. So you're not going to be able to disable their passive skills, you're not going to be able to silence them, you're not going to be able to do a burn damage, something like that, alright? So, and what the hell does crit mean? Okay, so I guess she's like kind of like a jester. You know, she makes a joke and then you just laugh, and then boom, there goes your damage, there goes your defense, because you're laughing and then you lost your guard, and then she goes in for the kill and you're dead, little do you know. So yeah, basically that's what she does. And I currently have her in this build, so I'm using Heal and Tornado and Ultimate Quib. So this makes her a good AoE mage that's gonna be always dishing out debuffs and always giving enemy heroes a hard time. Now this troop alone is the main reason why I was talking about the critical chance. So if you look at this, it says critical chance increased by 15%. Critical hits deal 1 strong debuff to enemies. Now this troop actually combos insanely well with your AoE spells, because so if you actually crit with your AoE skills, it's gonna land the strong debuff to your enemies as well. So it's gonna be adding a strong debuff for each critical hit that you land. It's the main reason why you want skill and you want critical chance on her. Unfortunately, my equipment didn't really have that, so this is my gear for her, and I'm using clock, by the way. And I was not lucky enough to roll any critical chance or skills. So if you have skill or critical chance gear, then definitely think about putting it on her. And if you roll with the same build that I have, definitely use clock, because it's 2 AoEs with a long cooldown, so you definitely want that to reset. And it's a toss-up between int or skill for the accessory, I think. But I would really want an accessory that has plus skill and plus int. I'm not sure if that even exists. So I went through all of these heroes, and without a doubt, this is the best. Like, this is the best troop that you can go with. It's the ninja unit. So don't go with any of these other ones, because it's just not good enough. Like, they don't have a bonus effect. So definitely go with Mist Dancer. And if you look at the Mist Dancer, I only have that at level 2, and you see for each level that you put on her, the crit chance increases by 3%. That's pretty huge. So at level 10, it's gonna increase. I can increase it 8 more times, which means I'm going to increase it by 24. It's going to add another 24, which means it's going to be 42. Your crit chance is going to increase by 42%. I mean, isn't that huge? Like 42% chance crit increase. And if you combine that with your accessories, your equipment, having skill up and crit chance up, definitely she's going to be critting an insane amount, and each crit is going to deal a strong debuff. Now this strong debuff is the same thing as her other debuffs I found. It's just like magic defense down, or the attack and int down, or the defense down. But regardless, it's still really good. Now looking at her equipment, this is a really good one for SSR weapon. So when you're dealing damage, it's going to give you another chance to put a powerful debuff. And it's going to increase your AoE damage as well, which is amazing. And this is a great helmet for her, because it's just the same as Chris. It might give you a chance to add 1 random debuff to an ally, so definitely a good one for her, support helmet. And this is a great accessory for her, so it might give you a chance to dispel enemy buff from the enemy. Yeah, these two are pretty good accessories for her, because it's giving you extra chance to dispel buffs and extra chance to give your allies dispel debuffs as well. Now I'll be taking her to PvE, and you'll see from this clip that even though the Lancer has guard, she's going to be able to dispel that, no worries at all, and she's going to make them all pay with her extra quip of debuff, and they're going to be laughing to their deaths, as I'm sure. So as you see there, clock went off as well as Miststrike. That's amazing. So as you see there, with just one move, the dragon's damage dealt decreased by 20% and his attack and int went down by 20% as well. Now I can't tell you how good that is in dragon, okay? Or against bosses just in general, that's amazing. Now let's do a PvP of her with Letitia, with someone that's higher level than me. So Letitia can buff everyone up, which makes them be able to move 2 extra squares, especially on Almeda. So the other ones can move 1 extra square. And I'm going to give him a ultimate quip, here we go. And this actually did a crit on Ledin and giving him an extra debuff. So he's got 2 armor downs, if you notice by that. Okay, anyway, let's give her again. See what she can do by herself just with 2 moves. Okay, that's nice. So you see, that's half of their team's HP gone just from 2 moves from Almeda, and look at their troops, their half health is gone, and they have both attack and defense and M defense down, which is the same as a faction buff almost. So it's like an anti-faction buff sort of thing. So imagine that you have a faction buff yourself and all they get is like this anti-faction buff down, which that's kind of amazing if you think about it that way. Now this guy has a rule of justice, so I'm going to try and disable that on him. So I'm just going to use this instead of back hole. Now decay means that he won't be able to get faction buff, and that killed one of his units surprisingly. Did Vargas just die from poison? Yeah, so he's trying to faction buff, but you see he can't do anything. So I'm going to be giving my verdict of her, as well as her pros and cons. So starting off, I think she's a very kawaii sort of waifu material girl, and she's very cute because it's like koko, you know, that kind of thing. It's really cute. And isn't always like the first girl that you meet in the game is always the best. That's always the case with these Japanese visual novels, you know. And her talent ability is just, I mean, it's amazing. It's one of the best, like, I think it's an SSR worthy talent, because you just stand near to some people and then they just start getting all these random debuffs. You don't even have to go that close, it's 4 blocks. Yeah, and the mist dance is really awesome. because it's an insane amount of crit chance, 42% crit chance when maxed, and you combo that with your AoEs, and then you're gonna be giving everyone some nasty debuffs. Alright, and she works very well. It's very good in both PvE and PvP, so she's very safe to invest in my opinion. And as long as you have the right faction for her, so I mean her faction's a bit whatnot, it's kind of limited. And she gets a unique ultimate ability. So look at Grenier or Matthew, they don't really get it, do they? But she has one called Quip Master or something, right? Ultimate Quip, yeah. So she's got that definitely going for her. Now moving on to her cons, the amount of debuffs that you can have is quite limited and it's random, which means that they can't stack as well. And if you look at Bozal, he's got way more random debuff. That means there's going to be more of a chance that you're going to be casting a debuff and it's not going to be doing anything because you already have the same debuff on the enemy unit. So that's a pretty big one, since she has her talent, which gives a random debuff, and she has ultimate quip, which gives a random debuff as well. Okay, and her troop selection is not very good. Like, she only has one viable unit in my opinion, which is the Miss Dancer, and she's not a pure healer, so she can't compare with some of the top tier healers like Liana or Tiaras. There's a good chance that you need 2 healers rather than just bring her, because she's a semi healer, she's offensive healer. There's times that where I was using Liana and I was missing Almeda, so she was definitely got her own strengths. Yeah, also there's a lot of RNG going on with her debuffs, so sometimes you need that attack down, or sometimes you need that defense down for you get some other one like magic defense down, and you just feel like face palming. So it's a bit inconsistent in that regard. And finally, what kind of name is Almeda? What the hell? I mean, she looks and feels like the first girl that you'll ever love, and you'll always be together with her, and she's a girl next door, and her name is Almeda. I mean, if it was an Emily, Chloe, Holly, Tara, you know, then I'll be getting that girl next door vibe. But that one's just completely, yeah, just made me lost for words. And looking at this name meaning, the name Alameda actually means mall in English. So if you do a Spanish translate from Alameda to English, it means mall. So what are you guys actually saying, you know? Are you saying we should spend money on her? Is that how you're trying to insinuate it on us players? So she's a mall, so we should spend money on her? Don't know. But if you have a better idea, let me know in the comments below. Okay, and drum roll. So this is the first hero I'm giving even scores on both PvE and PvP. I'm giving her 8.5 out of 10. I feel like she can hold her own in both regards, and she can do an extremely good job in both of them as well. So the only reason I'm holding back is, you know, it's a bit random, you know, the debuffs. That's pretty much. But yeah, that said, it's a really solid unit. And if you need an offensive healer, hybrid healer like her, then definitely just invest in her. Definitely go ahead and do that. Well, there you have it for this review of Almeda. Hope you've enjoyed it, and stay tuned if you want to see more content like this. Peace out, guys.
じゃあ、またデートしましょう。約束ですよ。